You've got red on you.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking about a pretty red movie, kind
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of. We're talking about zombie movies.
of.
We're talking Shaun of the Dead and Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, which was Ryan's pick. And yeah, that's the show. If anyone doesn't know, that's what we do. We have a topic. We each pick a movie, and then we discuss it. So yeah, we're going to talk about both those movies in full spoiler detail. So if you haven't seen them and you want to, then you know don't stick around for that. But before we get to that, we do some recent recommendations, some things we've seen recently. We're going to do a quick little, you know, quick spoiler-free review. So, do you want to kick it off, Ryan, with something? I know we each have a few this week. I know I have a couple of. I have a very recent one. If you want me to start,
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
I saw a movie in theaters uh, called The Furious. An awesome Hong Kong action movie. It's directed by Kenji Tanigaki, who is Japanese, I believe, but it's a Hong Kong movie. And just so anyone knows, the movie is actually partly dubbed in the American theatrical release, and there's no like you can watch sub or dub. It's just the one version. So that is a bit of a disclaimer, but honestly, did not like ruin my enjoyment of the movie at all. The action was awesome, crazy, over the top, super fun and brutal, bone crunching, bloody action, a lot of hand to hand combat. Very reminiscent if you like The Raid or John Wick movies or Taken. If you like any of those movies, this is right up your alley. You got to check it out. The fight scenes are incredible. And I actually really cared about the characters and the story. So, yeah, The Furious, I think it's still in theaters. I don't know. By the time people are listening to this, it might be kind of already leaving theaters, but at least put it on a watch list when it comes to streaming. Check it out if you're an action movie fan, because there are some incredible action sequences in this, and the story I was also engaged and cared about. So yeah, this is actually like one of my favorite movies of the year so far. So big fan.
Wow. Wow, cool. Nice. I did see that at the local theater. I didn't see the movie, but I saw the posters and everything. And it does look like a pretty limited release, like kind of a shorter release schedule. But nice.
Yeah.
Glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Definitely my type of action movie.
Yeah, sounds sick. Um, well, I saw something equally as action packed uh just yesterday, which is Toy Story 5. Yes, lots of
Very, very action packed.
lots of action in this one. Um, I mean, do I recommend Toy Story 5? Probably not. I mean, unless you already expect to see it,
Oh,
it's fine. It's certainly not. I think that a lot of people will watch it for sure because a lot of people are rewatching the originals and stuff.
and it's a
Um,
huge hit. Made a ton of money for opening weekend.
yes, it has made a ton of money already. I think that I just rewatched all the other movies lead up to this, and it's probably the weakest of all of them. And it was fine, but there was a lot going on, and I don't know if it fully all came together in like a as satisfying of a way as you're expecting maybe from these movies. Um, but it was fine. It was fun. Whatever. It does what it wants to do, but I think I would expect that people will have high expectations going in. And
Yeah. And the movie's getting pretty good reviews, so I'm kind of surprised you didn't like it.
it's
I
not, yeah, I did not like it,
well,
but I think it was not quite as strong as the rest of the series.
yeah, you're lukewarm, maybe is
Yeah.
the right way to say it. But but yeah, I've been hearing good things about it. And then I believe I saw one and two when I was a kid. But I never saw three and four. So probably not gonna see this one. But I'll probably see it eventually. When I have a kid, we'll watch all the Toy Stories probably. But I'm kind of like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not dying to rewatch all the Toy Stories personally right now. But interesting. I feel like it's been getting good reviews and it's been a big hit. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt just it was okay. I think you
Is
know,
four the other worst one? Like aside from five, four and five are the
yeah.
worst two. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one of the downsides of this series is that one, two, and three are pretty much all just excellent, like fantastic movies.
Mm.
And so there's a lot to live up to in four and five. And
Yeah.
once you're at four and five, it's hard to live up to it. Um,
Yeah, but they're so popular that they want to keep making them, and yeah.
yeah. Also, I'm glad this one's doing well. Great. It's cool. It's a fun kids movie. I will also say though, this might have been the worst theater experience I've had maybe since Superman last year. And if anyone watched our episode on Superman,
Oh,
you
I
might
forgot you
remember,
had.
yeah, a horrible experience in this big IMAX release, whatever. We went to go see this, and man, there was like kids all over the place. There was, what you expect, right? Whatever. I give some leeway on that. I don't really care that much about the kids yapping and stuff during the movie. But then the problem is the parents of the kids that did not care about the movie at all were just on their phones. And so
Wow.
and this is hilariously ironic considering
Yeah.
the movie, at least in part, being about, screen time and stuff. And yeah, so I thought that was very ironic and very fucking annoying. So
Yeah, that's fair. So what happened at Superman? Superman was in IMAX or it was Toy
Su-
Story at IMAX?
no, Superman was in IMAX. This
Yeah.
I saw, actually, we saw this in 3D, which makes the screens
Oh,
really annoying.
wait a minute. Wait. Yeah, yeah. That's brutal.
Yeah. But Superman I saw in IMAX. It might have been, I don't think it was IMAX 3D, but it's possible. I'm not gonna look, but it's possible. Either way, it was like, dude, the big problem in that one was that it was like every other fucking person in the theater, dude. It's like, guys, you're in the most expensive way that you can watch this movie right now, and you're sitting down, you're just on your fucking phone. This is
Hmm.
like, come on, you're not
Interesting.
watching Netflix right now, man.
Yeah, that's great. It's interesting because I hear people say this that, oh, you go to the movies and there's people on their phones and stuff. I rarely experience it in real life. Normally, no one's on their phone. And if it is, it's like someone checks their phone once or twice. But I don't even know if I've ever experienced, and maybe they've been behind me, like in the back row, but I don't know that I've experienced like someone. Are they just like they're like scrolling through social media for like 10 minutes or something?
I'll say that it doesn't happen all that often, but Toy Story
Right.
5, again, it's like the parents this time around, I think, that
Mm,
just did, they were just on their phone the whole time.
wow.
The whole time. I don't, there was a couple of people that I actually don't know if they turned their screen off the whole time.
Wow.
Um,
Brutal.
but Superman, I don't remember entirely, but I do remember it being a
Yeah.
big problem during the movie. Like, yeah. So
Yeah. Wow. That's unfortunate. I guess that could be expected in kids, but the phones are that's pretty crazy.
yeah, I mean, again,
Very
I
ironic.
very ironic, and I did not really care about the kids
Yeah.
being active
Right.
during the movie. It's a kids movie. That's what
Right.
I'm there for. I get it, but it's like, dude, if you're bringing your kid to a movie, be there with the kid for a few hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're probably spending like over $100 to get like if they're getting three, four tickets and popcorn and drinks and stuff. There's like that adds up if you have a family and you're going to the movies. Like you might as well at least watch the movie rather
Yeah,
than
give it a
just be on
try.
your phone like you could be any other time of the day.
Yeah,
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 the phone addiction is brutal. It's tough.
yeah. I did find it so ironic during that movie
Yeah.
that like there was something in me that was like, wow, this is like what this movie's about. Is this like a setup, right? Like, are there hidden cameras here? But yeah, so I mean, also it's worth noting that probably dampened my opinion of the movie, but also, I mean, still, I mean, really the plot was just kind of lukewarm. It was fine. Andrew
Hmm.
Stan, he's a big fan of, he's got some abandonment issues, obviously. So he's a big fan of things getting lost and found.
Yeah, Finding Nemo, Wally,
All the Toy
Finding
Stories.
Dory. Yeah, I don't think he did the original Toy Stories, but maybe he was involved with Pixar. I don't know.
I
But he didn't
think he,
direct the
no, I think he
original.
co-wrote the original
Oh,
ones.
did he?
I
Okay.
think so. I could be wrong, but I think
No,
so.
you could be right. I just know he didn't direct them because
Yeah.
I think it was John Lasseter, right? Did the
Yeah.
original first couple, whatever.
Hmm.
Um. Anyway, well, that was Toy Story talk. Time for a non-baby movie. I saw an awesome movie. I'm only 31 years late on this one. Crimson Tide
Oh,
from
nice.
1995, directed by Tony Scott, starring Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. They're in a submarine. It's a submarine movie. The tension is ratcheting up, the drama, the suspense. Fantastic movie. I loved it. It's streaming on Amazon Prime Video. I'm sure you can also find it other places. And yeah, always great to like catch up with a movie and be like, this is awesome. Like very watchable. Yeah, I just loved it. Denzel is incredible, obviously. Uh, and yeah, great movie. Would highly recommend people watch Crimson Tide for a sort of it's also 1995, so it's right after the fall of the Soviet Union. So it's kind of an interesting like post Cold War, but it's basically a Cold War type of movie. Um, yeah, really cool. Uh, Great movie. Would recommend it. I guess that's all I really have to say. I don't really want to get into details of the plot, but
Yeah,
Crimson Tide.
nice, awesome. Um, I'm gonna hit you with another lukewarm but recent movie.
Jeez. Baby
Um,
movie?
not a baby movie. This is maybe the opposite of that,
Oh.
but I do actually
Elderly movie.
okay, maybe not the fuck. This is maybe not the I'm not quite as lukewarm on this one. I think this is worth probably worth watching. This is Leviticus, sorry.
Hmm.
Which is a new movie that's kind of a horror metaphor on like conversion therapy and stuff like that. And the supernatural conceit is that there's like a some entity that follows you and scares you and stuff, but it looks like your lover. And
Hmm.
so it's a really cool idea, really cool metaphor. It is also a debut, directorial debut, and I think it's it's cool. I think it's worth watching. I would say it's not entirely consistent tonally, and I think you feel that a little bit, but I think it's worth watching, even if I didn't love it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw this one was coming out. It was kind of like a lot of like uh metaphor heavy horror. And there
Mm,
a lot of, there's Hokum, there's Obsession, Backrooms, this. What was that other one of was it called Passenger or something like that?
yeah,
There was that. And this is like within the past like month. They're just cranking them out. Um so yeah, this one probably like because you're a horror guy, like you're like, okay, that was good, but I don't know that I need to like rush out to check it
yeah.
out.
Yeah, I mean, and also I think to that end, if you're looking for something on the queer side, Girls Love Girls Girls Like Girls just came out as well. The Haley Kiyoko movie based on the novel, based on the song. And I've heard really good things about that. I have not seen it yet, but if I was given a choice over again of these two movies, I would probably want to see that one. So, you know,
We don't know. Maybe it could have been terrible.
yeah, that's true.
Could have
That's
been.
true.
All right, cool. Last one I want to mention is a documentary called Kedi, Kedi. This is a Turkish documentary about cats in Istanbul. And it's just about how Istanbul apparently has all these stray cats, and you're kind of following different cats, and it's pretty awesome. It's just a fantastic documentary. It actually gives you like a great feel for the city and like daily life in Istanbul. And so it's not like a touristy thing or like you're seeing all the, tourist attractions of Istanbul or anything, but you're just seeing how people live everyday life and sort of how these stray cats, they have all these different personalities, they have different interactions with the humans, and they interview the humans, and there's also a ton of great cat footage. This one is streaming on the Criterion channel and on Canopy, so it's pretty accessible. If anyone doesn't know Canopy, if you have a public library card, most of them you can watch Canopy or Hoopla. So if you don't have a public library card, you can just go and get one. It's actually very easy. You just have to overcome social anxiety for like 5 minutes, and then you'll have access to like tons and tons of movies on there. Um, And yeah, so Kedi, Kedi, directed by Seda Torun. Torun. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, but just a lovely documentary. I feel like this is one I could throw on like a million times and be like, oh, there's Smokey the cat. I like that guy, and this is the little 10-minute Smokey segment, I don't know. I don't know if one was called Smokey. I think there was one that's like the Turkish word for smoky, maybe, or something like that. But anyway, yeah, very cute cats, and actually like cool to get to know like the city and the people through the the stray cat like as a way in to learn about the people as well.
Yeah, nice. That sounds pretty cool.
And
Um,
I will say it's only 79 minutes long.
nice. Love
Yeah.
that.
So this is
Gotta
a very, very cozy,
yeah,
watchable movie.
gotta love some good cat media.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's not a lot. Like you'd think there'd be more.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like, what do you
you got
Flow, great cat
Flow,
movie. Maybe we should do like a top five
cat
cat
movies.
movies, top five dog movies,
Yeah,
top five kangaroo movies.
that's tough. I don't know if I could come up with that many, even on the more mainstream animals. Can I come up with five cat movies that aren't
Yeah,
like
I don't know. I
kid
think we
movies?
may have to go with something like Alien, where a cat is like a supporting character.
I mean, yeah, that would be a cool. Yeah, that works. I feel like that's a strong one.
If we're going cat as a main character, we might struggle.
Yeah. Well, the last thing I'm gonna recommend is a little on the off the beaten path because I'm not gonna do another movie here. I'm recommending a book. Yeah, that's right.
What
This is
you
suddenly
you know
mind
I'm
your
illiterate.
this is suddenly the mind your books podcast for a hot moment here. Um, by the way, if you have a public library card, you can also access this book. So if
There
you
you
haven't
go.
done that yet, go sign up for your library card. It's free. And you get Hoopla and or Canopy, and you can get access to the physical paper copy of The Shining. So
Ah, you
I've
read The Shining.
finally read it, and
Nice.
it's it's wild. It is such a good ride. It's very different from the movie in a way that I think that I was a little nervous reading it because I knew how different it was. And I knew that Stephen King did not particularly like the movie, and I really liked the movie. So I was like, "Uh-oh." But the book is pretty awesome. It does some pretty like experimental things with the way that it's written, where you'll have like a line break and then like a parenthetical thing from The Shining. Like The Shining will hit in
Ah.
parentheses
Hmm.
in the middle of a sentence in a new line and stuff, and then you'll get back into the old sentence. So it's like really at times kind of jarring because of that, but in like a way that really makes you feel like how The Shining might feel, I guess, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
That's cool.
Um, so pretty cool. The plot obviously is the same general premise, but you get a lot more into the characters, and it gets a lot more off the rails than you would expect from the movie. And there's like hedge animals that come to life and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's
famously.
yeah, pretty awesome. Um, so I would strongly recommend the book to anyone, whether you are a Shining movie enjoyer or not. I think it's pretty cool. So
Nice. There you go. And it's movie related.
yeah, I'm not gonna just throw any old book at y'all, but I think most of you guys might appreciate that one.
Nice. Cool. I'm glad you finally read it. Uh, are you gonna read Doctor Sleep?
So yeah, I just rewatched. I watched the director's cut of Doctor Sleep after I finished The Shining. Um, because I just seen I maybe I've watched The Shining like 3 times in the past like 15 months. So I was like, I'm not gonna rewatch this movie right now. Not that I
Yeah.
couldn't. That movie's awesome. I can rewatch that anytime. But I decided I'd watch the director's cut of Doctor Sleep, and it made me pretty excited to read that book. So I probably won't get to that right away. I've got kind of a big list of things I'm trying to read right now. So soon. So maybe
Nice.
check back in a few months and maybe you guys will hear an update on Doctor Sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's summer for you, so you have a little bit more free time and you can probably crack through some books. Is that a
That's right.
saying? Crack through some books?
Yeah, why not? It is now.
Yeah, crack through some books.
Yeah, everyone starts saying that.
All right. Is it time for Shaun of the Dooby Doo at Zombie Island?
Absolutely. Which
That's
naturally means we're starting here with Shaun of the Dead. And Shane, this was your pick.
Yes, Shaun of the Dead. This was my pick for zombie movie. Just a fantastic time. I love Shaun of the Dead. Was happy to rewatch it. But yeah, this is Edgar Wright's directorial debut. Came out in 2004, starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as Shaun and Ed. You know, the titular Shaun and Ed. Uh, and yeah, it's awesome. It's a incredible, like very fun and creative and quite vulgar, but also very witty parody of the zombie genre. And yeah, right on the Blu-ray I have, it says a romantic comedy with zombies, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is, and it's fantastic. It's nice and straight to the point, doesn't overstay its welcome. I mean, I think it's a great movie. I was happy to rewatch it. So yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
Nice. Yeah, I was happy you picked this. I do find it hilarious that both of our picks for this one uh, are not the most serious of zombie movies. This
No,
one is certainly a cult classic, and I think fits well into the zombie genre, but is obviously, uh, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't pick any traditional Romero flicks or anything like that.
no, and but this one clearly is so like inspired by that, and it does have like its moments of like zombie stuff. It's not just like there is some good like gore and like horror moments and stuff alongside the comedy and the drama and all the character stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's one scene when, well,
At the Winchester toward the
at
end.
at the Winchester.
Yes.
You know, we're just gonna jump right into it.
Yeah,
Whatever. Obviously,
spoiler
spoiler
alert.
warning. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're jumping into these movies. If you've not seen Shaun of the Dead, obviously you should watch this movie. It's been out for a long time, so we're well within our rights. I think it came out in 2004. So
We warned everyone
yeah,
sufficiently.
it is time to get right into the spoilers, and you could say we're gonna dig right in. We're gonna maybe tear
Yeah.
that stomach apart and
Yeah.
all the body parts.
Tear this movie limb from limb.
And then we can start beating the zombies with the leg. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, what an amazing shot or scene or whatever you want to call it. That sequence was so grotesque and so reminiscent also with the special effects, very
Yeah.
reminiscent of like the you know,
I
yeah,
I feel like
zombie.
it reminded me of Day of the Dead. I feel
Yeah,
like there's a scene very similar in Day of the Dead.
yeah, right, which makes sense with like Day of the Dead certainly had um good crowds of zombies and good special effects and stuff with everything going on. So yeah,
Yeah.
what a cool shot. What a cool series there. Sequence.
Yeah. Yeah. Um cool. So you like the movie too?
I do. I've seen this before at least a couple times, but
Mhm.
I got into this past like couple years, maybe a year and a half or so. I kind of got pretty into the zombie flicks more than I've been in the past, to a point where like, I'll read stuff on the zombie flicks that I'm watching and trying to dive a little bit more into the like the the cultural meanings of these movies, because I think that's very interesting, particularly with zombie movies. Um anyway, so I got really into
Yeah.
zombies movies. So I think I appreciated this so much more even this time around, because I just understood maybe the source material that it's working with better than I had in the past. Um, and I think in the past I've watched it and thought it was pretty funny, and it's well paced, it's well like executed in many ways. Like the has a very awesome, pretty dynamic camera, and I think that's very
And editing.
appealing. Yeah, and editing and everything. Um, and so I think it's a very well made movie that I appreciated before. But I think for any hardcore zombie fan, this is like one of the perfect comedies that there is. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And it's definitely, I think it was a great choice to have slow zombies. This is only a couple, I mean, it's also British and it's only a couple years after 28 Days Later, which kind
Mhm.
of like changes zombies with the fast zombies and more intense. And, but I think slow zombies was 100% the right call. It's funny, in high school, I like did like a report, not maybe like a PowerPoint all about zombies, and it was like slow zombies versus fast zombies, and how like slow zombies are better for like having metaphorical meaning, and then fast zombies are more sort of like action,
Mhm.
like intense. I don't remember. I probably could have like tried to find it. I don't even know. I did. It was just I don't even know if I would have it or where it would be or whatever. But
It's like over a decade ago. You made a PowerPoint on this. Nice.
yeah, yeah, for real. But yeah, I think slow zombies. I think I don't know. There's something about it that's a little more like I feel like the fast zombies. There's a sense of dread of like, oh, you're just completely screwed. Like you have no chance if they're coming after you. Whereas the slow zombies, like there's a little bit of like I could weave in and out. I could get away from them. Like they're so slow that you have a bit of a chance.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I think the slow zombies works.
Yeah, and in many ways, I think slower zombies makes for a bit of a more claustrophobic movie many times. Like the original Night of the Living Dead, you've got they're pretty much holed up in a house, right? And Dawn of the Dead, they're holed up in a mall, and that's obviously a little bit less claustrophobic, but still you're in an isolated space. And but when you get running zombies, the characters have to be a little bit more on the move generally.
Hmm.
Um, and and by default that kind of opens up the space a lot. And here, while they're not always at the Winchester is certainly like a pivotal location for the movie, and in many ways it's when the movie does start to feel the most claustrophobic.
Yes, the like final like third act at the Winchester for sure. Definitely has the classic zombie holed up in a room, almost even like what Call of Duty zombies would
Yeah,
be at the end with them trying to get in the windows and you're kind of barricaded in and trying to fight them off. So yeah, just classic zombie stuff.
yeah. Also, I think slow zombies here helps not just in those many reasons, but also just for the comedy. Like at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
he's stumbling around the streets and
Yeah.
is like trying to check out at a store and just kind of leaves and goes back home, and he literally walks into someone in the road and is like, I don't have any change or whatever. And
Yeah.
if all the zombies that are around in the background of all these scenes were like running and like whatever, it would make really no sense. But instead, he kind of plays as kind of the same level of awareness, maybe, as the zombies in those moments. And so it works.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I love that with them having the wonder at the beginning of him doing his sort of morning routine and then bringing us back to the same shot, but after the apocalypse has started and everything is, things have changed, but he doesn't realize it because he's kind of in his, I think he's hungover at that point.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
he's like in a hungover stupor and not really knowing what's going on. And there's so many like callbacks like that and thing connections like at the beginning of the movie when he's waking up and he like sounds like a zombie and you kind of see his feet shuffle in and then you pan up and see him yawning and but he's making sort of a zombie noise and then the same thing happens at the very end, with the and he goes at the beginning to sit with Ed and they play video games and at the end spoiler alert, he's with Liz. But just it's just very well crafted with the shots, and then obviously there's also the sequences of the quick cutting with like whip pans and that sort of Edgar Wright style that's become kind of his trademark style. Um, so all of that just makes it feel very well crafted, you know.
yeah. Right. And it's almost so reminiscent now of a lot of hallmarks of Edgar Wright's filmography that it's easy to forget maybe even that it's a debut for him, because it feels so much like he already has his style pretty well down with like the in-camera transitions and all the really great fast camera motion and all this, and a lot of stuff that just comes up certainly at least in more of maybe his earlier stuff too. But yeah, just it feels like he's already a very matured filmmaker here.
Yeah. Yeah, and it keeps things exciting, and there's also a lot of callbacks and things with the dialogue as well. You
Yeah.
know, even in immature ways with the fart, when Coach comes to get back at the end, and you know, and the movie balances like humor and genuine like humanity and caring about the characters uh in a really great way. And I love how all the characters are flawed too, and uh, no one's like really that heroic. Everyone is screwing up or is a screw up in different ways.
Yeah, right. And also the just the fact that like the characters in many ways are, especially Shaun and Ed, are very much analogs to the zombies, right? And that's we see that with the comparisons in the early parts of the movie too, and then again at the end. And especially, he's literally sitting the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. Ed is just playing video games, right? Like whether he's a
Yeah.
zombie or not, that's what he's doing. Um, and so I think that's such an interesting, going back to sort of the metaphorical aspect of slow zombies here, you know, what has society made them into and all that stuff is very prevalent right from the beginning. So,
Yeah, definitely. And all this, I feel like their relationship is pretty like I don't know. There's a charm and like you care about them, even though they're both kind of, dealing with Ed in real life would probably be a nightmare.
yeah.
But I guess it's only 90 minutes and it's just a little, you kind of come to care about him anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he has his moments, and you certainly understand why Shaun sort of totally freaks out on him when he picks up the phone when they're trying to get into the Winchester.
Yeah.
And you definitely feel that anger in that moment against him. But yeah, he's a wholehearted guy, and you kind of have to love him. I mean, he's a we're all flawed, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
and Shaun too is like clearly kind of a very flawed character with the way he like, but in ways that are relatable and that you can
right.
make you care about him and just make him a more interesting character.
Yeah. And that's an important thing here is that I think that all the characters do feel pretty realistic, even if at times obviously not overly satirized, but certainly not their actions might not be realistic in the moment, but they represent realistic people, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And there is like a real heart to the movie too, I feel like, because this kind of like genre parody can often be kind of like uh there's like nothing at the center of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a parody of a genre, and well, if it makes you laugh, then it is what it is, but there's not really anything like to hold on to at its core. And this one has with the characters, and you care about their relationships with Shaun and Liz, and Shaun and his mom, Shaun and Ed. Obviously mostly it revolves around Shaun, but even him with his stepdad, like that's an easy character to be a sort of just a villain or like a butt of the joke and stuff like that. But it is ultimately like a very touching like scene with them in the car. So yeah, it's I think all that is just really well done.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Also, here's a fun little tidbit. Backtracking a little bit back to the beginning of the movie, because I love that opening, the whole opening, all the way up until really uh until they really figure out what's going on and they start throwing things at the guys. But
Classic scene.
amazing, amazing. But that opening I thought was interesting. I was reading that Edgar Wright was sort of influenced to make a zombie parody with that type of opening because he apparently just wasn't paying attention to the news for like 2 weeks and eventually turned on television and saw that they were like burning cattle and was very confused. And this was like during the 2001, there was like an epidemic in the UK. I think it was called the foot and mouth epidemic.
Oh,
And uh, but he had no idea. And it was like apparently really big news in the UK, but he didn't realize this for 2 weeks and this whole thing was going on. And eventually he turns on the news and sees that they're just burning thousands of cattle to control this thing. And he felt in that moment that it's very plausible for the world to be crumbling around people, especially people like this who are just kind of like, they're just in their own world, whatever. And somebody like Shaun, right, would be like the last person to really realize what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty relatable, right? I mean, not that I mean, hopefully I would figure out a little bit sooner, but
I mean, they handle themselves pretty well.
yeah,
I mean, they make it. Um, but yeah, I love the way that the information is dispersed, like on the TV as he's walking around and stuff. And then obviously the scene with him flipping through the channels and they're telling you what's happening, but it's each channel has like different words in a sentence, and
yeah,
it sort of all ties together. Just very like well done and creative ways of doing something that is kind of like a standard disaster movie thing, like whether it's zombies, alien invasions, like there's always like we're watching the news and we're getting information from the news, like either a radio or TV. And like he just made it a fun, creative way to do that.
yeah, right. And that was really, really fun. And then that's when they learn also from the last guy that was on the news. And he comes up later on, but that's when they learn you got to hit him in the head, right?
Yes.
And then later on, you also get a fun callback from that guy when they're going through news channels at the end, and
Yeah.
he's like, "It's so hard in the newsroom having to tell people to, you got to hit them in the head and stuff." And it's like, "Yeah, man, it's
Yeah.
so hard for you to be in that newsroom."
Yeah. He's like, I never thought I'd have to say, decapitate them or destroy the brain or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is in some ways obviously a little goofy to news reporters, but also a bit of the real trauma of, in many ways this movie is reflective on the post 9/11 world where news reporters were reporting on things that, people never really thought they'd have to and stuff, right? And so in some ways I think that is goofy and also actually metaphorical for that. But
And I love that the movie doesn't end with an apocalyptic scenario. It's like this has been contained and now it's like a part of society and like you have to deal with this. And like obviously they don't get into it too much, which is good because it's just the end of the movie. But it's just a cool different way for a zombie movie to end rather than it just being like, all right, we're going back, we're living in the wilderness in tribes and we're sort of going in a post-apocalyptic thing. It's like having game shows with zombies on them and he has a zombie friend in the shed, like stuff like
yeah.
just a cool ending for even though there is sort of military ex machina at the end of them just coming in and saving the day, but it works. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it works. Yeah. I mean, you can be a little annoyed that sure it just all works out perfectly for them, but also that's what we were here for. Like did you like I didn't really want a depressing ending where he's gonna die,
No, no.
Um but yeah.
Yeah, so many great scenes in this movie. There's the
Yeah.
throwing the records, which is classic, and I love when they're throwing the records and then they have to just bash them over the head with the cricket bat and the shovel.
Yeah.
Um, but I love that they go back inside and they realize that Pete is upstairs and they like have to take his car and Shaun just looks up the stairs. He's like, Pete, like in a very soft voice, because on one hand, he doesn't want to disturb him if he's a zombie, but on the other hand, if he's not a zombie, he's going to be pissed off. So he
Yeah.
doesn't want to disturb him either way. And just the way they say Pete is just very funny. Uh, so yeah, love that scene, and then them taking the car and everything. Just great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. There really are so many great scenes. I think it's for me also. I just love the editing so much that one of my favorite scenes in the movie has to be when they're practicing the moans, you know, and they're in the woods practicing, how they're gonna moan to pretend to be zombies, and um and she goes. I think I wrote down just yeah. Let's all try it together. One, two, three. And then it cuts and they're just in the street all doing the thing. And
Yeah,
it's just such a clever cut. It's so satisfying. And
yeah,
that one just worked so well for me. That's got to be one of my favorite scenes. Also, David getting pulled apart, which we already talked about.
Yes,
Another
definitely.
amazing scene.
Definitely. And the scene where they're practicing the zombie impersonation is also right after his mom gets bitten, but you don't know. And the first time around, like I think it's hidden pretty well. But then on rewatch, like it's clever, like there's so many details of like her looking concerned in the background, and once you know that that's what's happening, you can look for it.
Yeah,
And like for example in that scene, like she doesn't even really do anything, but then the girl who's the actress whose name I'm forgetting, so
yeah.
Liz Diane, she's like, "Oh, great job. That's great. That's perfect," or something. And she hasn't even really done anything because she's just so scared and, you know, petrified by that fact that she knows she's been bitten, but she's trying to hide it. So just little details like that are the movie has like so many little details like that that I think it's rewarding on rewatch as well.
Yeah. And I think there's also like a good amount of layers to the comedy that watching it again also kind of reveals some of those layers. Like even there's that early him slipping scene, right? Where sort of at the very beginning he's slipping and stuff. And you know, on its very face level, it's funny because he falls, you know. But then it's also funny because he actually just doesn't notice what's going on. And I think there's just so many layers that like the more that you're into it and the more that you understand the world that he's living in that moment, the more you might get out of even a basic joke like that too.
Yeah. And classic stuff like the garden fence when they have to climb over the garden fences and it just falls over. And then that became a recurring thing in the Cornetto trilogy and everything. Um, but yeah, uh, shall we mention the Ed what's up scene?
Well, you're mentioning it.
Too late, I already mentioned it. Forgot about that. But I
Yeah.
will say that's something Ed would say. Like he's that kind of like he's just kind of dumb and in his own world in a way where it
Yeah.
doesn't seem that out of character. But very like I completely forgot about that. I was kind of like
Yeah, that took me for surprise. I did not expect him to say that.
very
I did,
funny. And it's very funny just in the way that I think he kind of like whips in the car
yeah.
and then I think he pops out of the window and the camera might just do a little bit of a zoom in to him like for emphasis and it's just very unexpected.
And then also it's pretty funny how everyone reacts. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's pretty much like, man, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
um, so it definitely, I think it uses I think it makes a good bit there, even if you know, yeah,
Yeah, it's clearly he has some pretty vulgar language throughout.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
And
Ed being so flawed is kind of part of his character.
right, I mean, this guy lives off of video games and leaving the place trashed and leaving the
Yeah,
door
and
unlocked and
selling
all this
drugs.
stuff. Yeah, like yeah, totally.
I like that whole leaving the door unlocked. I'm sure that Ed does
Yeah.
it, but also it's Shaun because yeah, when the zombie gets in, that was Shaun that was the last one to come in. So
Hmm.
it is Shaun that he kind of like put it on Ed and blamed him probably for
True, true.
something that he does.
Also another piece of the movie, right? Where like rewatching this movie just it really does pay off quite a lot, which is cool. Um, Also, a couple more things. One, Nick Frost, who plays Ed, it's his first feature film, which I didn't realize
Oh
until
wow.
this rewatch. So, which makes sense. It's Edgar Wright's debut, but yeah, I mean, I think he does such a good job here at being the character that he's supposed to be, um, and he's one of the pivotal characters in the movie. Certainly, in the top three characters of the movie, and yeah, so that was cool. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
that is cool. I wonder if he did like TV or anything because uh I forget the name of the show, but Edgar Wright did a show before doing
Yeah, is it called
uh
Spaced or
yes,
something? Yeah.
Spaced. I think Simon Pegg is in that as well, right?
Yeah. And actually, I think they got the idea for this movie from an episode they did of Spaced. Um,
He is also in Spaced.
okay, okay. So that makes sense then. But
But this is like his feature film debut.
yeah.
It's all just TV stuff before.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool that they got the idea to do this from space, and then also Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright were co-writers for this. And there's a cool quote I found from Simon Pegg about the process of co-writing and also acting the character you're writing. He says, "I could write whatever I wanted to do or see. I think it'd be great if there were more actor, writer, and writer director teams because I think the final piece would be a lot stronger of an identity." Um, and then he goes on to say a few more things, but that's kind of the main thing. And in some movies, some comedies leave a lot to improv, and it's like you have some basic outline of a script, but then you kind of improv a lot along the way. But he was saying that he actually did script out a lot of what he wanted to say and what he wanted to see in it and everything, and it works
This
really
doesn't.
well. It feels very natural, but it also it flows really well. It's very well done.
Yeah, this doesn't feel improv at all to me,
Right.
but in a good way. It feels natural, but it's so specific and like precise. Like, and that could be also the way it's edited, but it's very tightly paced and everything, and it doesn't feel like there's any fat. A lot of the times, like when there are scenes of people improving, it can be a little like just kind of loose and you're not sure where it's going. And that's part of the appeal of improv. But I don't think this movie has an improv feel at all. And I think that's like a positive.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. And but it is cool to hear from the perspective of the lead actor slash co-writer that I mean I've seen that credited a few times, but I've never really thought that much about that being a dual role there. And it makes sense that that's so impactful to you as the actor who's now going to make all that stuff come to life, that you have
Yeah.
such an input in actually what you're going to be doing and saying. So
Yeah, definitely. And I think a great part of the movie and great part of Simon Pegg's performance is like his reaction shots and just his facial expressions in a lot of scenes. And he expresses so much through without any dialogue in a lot of scenes. And it could be that him being a co-writer, like he really has a specific idea of how characters are feeling in each scene. And so he knows like these are the kind of faces I should be making in this scene. These is the kind of emotion I should be portraying.
yeah, yeah, right. I mean, I think you just have such a more sort of intimate understanding of the movie that you're making, right? If you're
Yeah.
that level of involved, yeah. So that's cool. I think a big advantage to the movie is that he was able to help write it. But
Yeah. Another very famous, memorable scene is the "Don't Stop Me Now," the
yeah,
jukebox with them hitting and that is also sort of the beginning of Edgar Wright's music and cutting things to music and the way he uses music in his movies. Obviously, like Baby Driver is probably the biggest, like everything coming together with that, I guess. But yeah, a lot of music in this movie as well, a lot of like needle drops and stuff. But yeah, that is a pretty I don't know, just like a super super, memorable scene that's lived on from this movie like in popular culture, I think.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that seems awesome. So that makes a lot of sense. Also, very funny. I saw uh I watched Zombieland 2
Mm,
uh recently. And
tough.
yeah, the movie sucks, but
Yeah.
an extremely American movie in terms of the zombie apocalypse because everybody has guns. And at one point they
Mm,
get to a place where they're not allowed to have their guns. And it's like the biggest thing, right? And all this stuff. And and that's like the whole character of some of the characters in that movie is their weapons, right? And their guns. And this movie really has no guns other than the titular Winchester. But
oh, I guess it's titular to
from
the
the
bar.
yeah to the
Yeah.
bar to the
I
bar.
was like, what? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead Winchester.
Yeah. Like
Um,
he was Shaun of the Winchester. He'd go there every night.
that's right. Um, but this movie has none really until that, and this scene ends with them pretty much getting that. But there's also the whole part in this when they're just smacking him with the pool cues, and I think that was just so good,
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, and also just so much of this movie, they're using he has the cricket paddle at one point, and they're throwing the vinyls and all the weapons. It's very funny to not have any guns in this movie. Like it adds to the comedy quite a bit
Yeah,
because they're just using weird, obscure things for weapons. And yeah, it's a very I don't know. I think that a lot of times we watch zombie apocalypse movies because so many of them are made here in America, and we just see like everyone with a gun, right? And
yeah,
it's cool here that that doesn't happen for a lot of the movie.
yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Um, One part of the movie that I think is underrated or that I had never really appreciated before is the like original score. Because obviously there's a lot of like needle drops in the soundtrack, but also there there's a lot of scenes with this almost like John Carpenter-ish, like very minimal sort of 80s throwback score. It doesn't happen a ton in the movie, but it happens a few times toward the end, and it reminded me of John Carpenter a lot, and I just thought it was a really good minimal like score, and obviously harkening back probably also to like Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead maybe as well.
Yeah,
But kind of just like classic throwback 80s horror was kind of the vibe, and it really worked.
yeah, I think in many ways, right, with the score and just so many other things of this movie, it does feel like a love letter to you know a whole era of horror movies and zombie movies and things, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely that's the thing. I think it feels like a love letter more than like they're they you can tell that they're fans of the genre and they're not just making fun of it because they don't like it. It's coming from
Right.
a place of appreciation. Um, yeah. I mean, maybe one of the last things I have a question. What do you think about David?
What do I think about David?
Yeah. What are your
Uh,
opinions on David? Do you think he has any points? Do you hate him?
do I think he has any points? Probably at some point in this movie, he makes a good point, but for the most part, I don't really like David.
That's fair.
Let
I
me
don't
tell
like
you
David. I
something.
don't like David either.
Let me tell you something. This guy is is dating someone to get closer to someone else. That's a
I get,
big point in this movie.
and it's interesting. I always thought David was gay. And going into the movie, if before I had rewatched it, you would have been like, "Oh, what's up with David?" You'd be like, "Oh, it's like her gay roommate." And then turns out he's not gay,
Mm,
allegedly, unless it's just a subtextual thing, and maybe he is. But it seems like he has a crush on Liz, and that's kind of a thing, and he hates Shaun because of that.
yeah,
Um, but I always just thought that was the character, like in my mind, because I haven't seen it in a while. Um, but yeah, definitely probably the least likable character. Also Pete, the roommate Pete. Even though
yeah,
Pete also like it's interesting because out of the context of the movie, it's like, oh, this guy's frustrated by his roommate being like a an unemployed drug dealer who just doesn't pay the rent and makes a mess and like, oh yeah, that makes sense that he's annoyed by that. But when you're watching the movie, you're like, man, Pete, just chill out, man.
yeah. I will say we just don't get enough Pete, right? Like I would say that I dislike David more than I disliked Pete. Who knows? If he was in more of the movie, maybe I'd like him less. But David's just man. I, I think he's a fine character in the movie. I think he like does the things he's supposed to. But
Yes.
one of those things is not making me like him.
Yes,
Like
exactly. He does the writing and the actor Dylan
yeah,
Moran, who plays him, do a very good job of making him unlikable, which I think is
yeah,
the point.
right. I will say, does he have any points when he wants to shoot the mom? I'm gonna say it.
Oh,
I think that whole scene, everyone's a little overreacting, and I get it. I get it. Shaun doesn't want to have to, you know,
well, his mom did just die. I
yeah,
think I this is I at the first he's like you're like okay, this guy's making a fair point, but he's doing it in a bad way.
right.
But I think it shows by the end the ways that his motivation is not to help anyone. It's just because he hates Sean. You know?
Yeah. I do understand that. I'm just not sure if even if you hate the guy, are you really gonna kill his mom? Like I think that he probably I think in that moment he might legitimately want to stop that problem before it happens, of the mom turning into a zombie. But also, he is an asshole. I don't like him. But does he have
Yeah.
any points? I don't know. Maybe that is one where I'm like, I can see that I think that Shaun is not thinking entirely uh logically because his mom just died. And also, give him a minute. Like, don't, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I
And
think, maybe
he
there's something there.
he does also throw the trash through the window, but I think him being so unlikable is crucial for us to be able to sort of enjoy the scene when he gets ripped apart and not be like, because already there's a lot of emotional scenes with his stepdad, with his mom, and then with Ed at the end. Like and that scene is more like, whoa,
Yeah,
that's crazy, and you don't really care about the character, so they kind of do a good job like
right.
setting him up to get the super gory ripped apart death.
Yeah, and they know, making this type of movie that you want to have one of those deaths in here, right? Like the zombie fans want to see somebody get ripped apart by zombies. So I think it was a good call to have him be an asshole for that. But
Yeah.
um
If there's any issue with the movie, I think the zombies take a really long time to get through those windows that are already broken,
totally.
which is
Totally.
fine, but it
Yeah.
takes a long time.
Yeah.
And then there are certain scenes, like I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but there are some times where the camera is a little too frenetic and shaky for my liking. And that's
Mm.
like the quick cutting and everything, like it is kind of frenetic and like that's just the style of the movie. But there are a few times where the cinematography is a little all over the place. Not all over the place, but it's just a little bit shaky and frenetic, a little too much for my personal preference.
I I can understand what you're saying, but I think as a enjoyer of found footage, I'm maybe a little uh
You're like, shake
uh,
that camera, point it at the ground, start screaming and running.
I think I might be a little bit less. I don't. I'm not sensitive. That's not. Well, yeah, I don't know. Like
You're
I don't notice it
desensitized.
as. Yeah, I'm desensitized to
You're
that.
like compared to Blair Witch, this is like a
Yeah,
Kubrick movie.
yeah. I didn't notice any. I thought this was on a steady. I thought this was literally just on a tripod the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say hilarious. Speaking of the no gun thing, which I was speaking of minutes ago, but I'm gonna go back to it because I was thinking of now them trying to get through the doors or the windows.
Yeah.
And one thing that I also thought was very funny in the whole Winchester round scenes and with the Winchester gun is that they're all very bad with the gun. Uh,
Extremely bad.
right, which makes a lot of sense because you don't ever use guns.
Yeah, and they talk about it and they're like, "Well, none of us has ever shot a gun before."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another thing,
But
thinking of the
I mean
contrast.
they're pretty self-explanatory. You literally just point and pull the trigger.
Hey, if your blood pressure is if
Uh,
your heart is beating at like 4,000 beats per second because there's zombies all over the place, you
yeah.
might not be able to aim that.
And who knows how old that gun is, how
Yeah.
accurate it is, like that is fair, yeah.
But then of course when the bullets get shoot off from the fire,
Yeah.
they're like perfect headshots all
Some
around.
of them, yeah.
Awesome. Um, but yeah, the also one camera thing. You mentioned the camera work. There's one scene when they're in the car, and I think they might have just pulled up. Did I write this one down? They uh I didn't write down when this happens, but um they were
What's this?
it's early on, they're in the car, and I think Shaun is in the back seat and it's about to go and get oh yeah, he's about to go get everyone from the apartment building. And they're having a conversation though. So the camera, though, it's outside the car and it's moving from the back seat to the front seat, to the back seat to the
Mm,
front seat as they're all talking. And I just thought that was such a clever way to do that instead of like cutting to have an angle of like you're looking at the front seat guy and then you're looking at the back seat guy. And I thought that was just such a clever way to do it, even if a little less traditional than like just doing like a 180 rule, cut
yeah, yeah.
dialogue stances. I think that worked so well and felt so natural in this movie because of how much the camera is moving and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and that's like I think when the stepdad is bit and it's very like intense kind of
mhm.
they're arguing and stuff
Right.
and I feel like that ratchets up the tension whereas like a standard like shot reverse shot is very is more is not does not ratchet up the tension in the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
good point.
definitely.
Cool.
Cool.
I,
Well, yeah, we've gloated a lot about this movie.
yeah, pretty awesome movie.
Pretty awesome
Um,
movie.
should we wrap it up and give our ratings and everything?
Yeah. Um, I realize I did not yet write down the rating recap. I'm gonna do that
Okay.
real quick while
Yep.
we wrap up.
I
So
I'll give my rating. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Fantastic movie. Uh yeah, hilarious, very rewatchable, has a good heart. And probably I mean, maybe my favorite zombie movie.
oh wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of just saying that just off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
I think it might be.
nice. I do love this movie, although for me, I think it's hard to beat some of the more classic zombie movies like the original Dawn of the Dead or uh the original Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead are both certainly up there on some of my favorites. But this movie's awesome and it's so funny and it's probably one of my favorite horror comedies.
Yeah. Yeah, this and like Cabin in the Woods are probably a couple of my favorite horror comedies. So Cabin in the Woods kind of has zombies involved, but not really.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that one
Yeah,
when we pulled this, but well, I do have the rating recap now. See how seamless that is, But
very, very seamless. Well done.
but I gave this movie 5 stars this time around because it's
Nice.
um I mean, I think again, I think where I've been so into the zombie genre this past year, I think I just have appreciated it more this time around. I noticed in the past I had it logged at only 4 stars, and I was like, that's an injustice. This got to be higher than that. So, yeah, I just went with the fiver on this one. This movie,
Nice.
it's just fun all around. It's hilarious. Um, the action's actually pretty good when it's happening, and I like the ending a lot. You've got some funny
Yeah.
commercials at the end too that are
Yes.
just good. Um, yeah,
Cool. What's
but
what's the rating recap?
we've got a 3.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 92% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 93% audience score, and a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
Strong.
That is strong. It brings it to an 8.5 out of 10 average with those metrics, which is pretty high up there. It's not quite in our list of like the top ones that we've covered, but that's pretty strong.
Yeah. Nice. That makes sense. And for something in the horror, obviously it's comedy first, but horror movies tend to be lower rated, I feel like, especially by critics and general audiences.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty highly rated. Nice. Um, cool.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. What a good movie. So, when we were picking zombie movies, though,
Yes.
I also took a different route here, and I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
pick one of the classics.
A pretty sharp left turn.
Yeah, I would say it was probably pretty. If anyone had this on their bingo card for me this year, nice one. Uh,
No shot.
but yeah,
It,
Scooby
it's
Doo.
it's not even a theatrical movie. It's a direct to video movie, right?
It is, yeah, the first direct to video Scooby Doo movie.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, or as it was, I think it was like on the VHS, or in some places, it's just Scooby Doo colon Zombie Island. So
Interesting.
either
The
one.
on the poster, it's like Scooby Doo Zombie Island, and the on is like in small font, so it's easy to
Oh,
overlook.
well, that could be maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Then.
Maybe, or maybe I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, but either way, yeah, it's a pretty different pretty different movie than most of a lot of stuff we've covered on the podcast before. It is also a very important movie in my cinema upbringing, I would say.
Nice.
We had this on VHS. We we watched it a lot as a kid. I think this is probably part of why I'm so into horror. It's a strange left turn, even for Scooby Doo. It's not quite your traditional Scooby Doo movie, or a show or episode or whatever, for a lot of reasons. And yeah, I don't know. This movie has impacted me a lot over the years, and I wanted to cover it on the podcast because I love it. So here we are.
Nice. Yeah, I think we have a childhood favorites category in the category cup, which we will be pulling from at the end of the
Mm.
episode. It'd be funny if we got that for next episode. But yeah, I get you. I also have these movies. I don't think I've picked any for the podcast, but I know what you mean, where certain movies sort of are, their childhood favorites.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I'm glad we'll be able to talk about it. This was I believe my first time seeing this. It's possible that I've seen parts of it on TV maybe when I was a kid, but this was not like a big thing. I like you had it on VHS and rewatched it all the time, and it was not that for me. I had no relationship to this. I mean, really, my main connection to this and even to just Scooby Doo in general is the two live action movies from the
Mm.
early 2000s, where we did have at least one of those on VHS. And so I would kind of I believe the second one is when they go to the island, right? Or is that the first
Uh,
one?
I think the first one. I think they go to the island on the first one, but
Okay.
I'm not entirely. I could be forgetting.
Okay. Maybe there's on an island in both. I don't even remember. Either
No,
way.
Scooby. They go to Spooky Island in one of them, and the other is the museum thing.
Right. Yeah.
Scooby Doo
Ki-
2 Monsters Unleashed. That's got to be the museum because all the monsters come alive. Because
Okay.
the first one they go to the island.
Okay, so I think it's the first one then that I really liked
Mm-hmm.
and watched a lot as a kid, but I haven't seen it since. So this kind of, while I was watching it, I was like, oh, this feels like it had a big influence on the Scooby-Doo live action movie.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, between the two, they both start with uh the team kind of splitting up. You get this cool montage of the team doing a few little ghost hunts, or maybe just one ghost hunt at the beginning. They find the moat monster or something and unmask him. But then they split up and they're all doing their own thing. Daphne and Fred. Oh, actually, that's why we see the montage because Daphne's like talking about it on air because she's a journalist now. Scooby and
yep,
Shaggy are customs agents eating all the confiscated food, and Velma runs a bookstore. And in Scooby Doo, the live action, they're also all split up at the beginning, right? And they get invited to the island from their separate places.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It was very similar setup, and then with the zombie creatures as well, and sort of voodoo elements. It was
Mm-hmm.
all pretty similar. I was looking at Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. There's definitely a chance I never watched number two and just
Oh,
watched the first one a bunch of times because I know the first one it starts with them finding like solving a case,
yeah.
and then it goes into the Spooky Island stuff. And yeah, I think as a kid, I was like, okay, this is like movie one, and now we're in movie two. Because it's like the opening scene is like the end
Right.
of what would be the end of a movie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe actually, you know what? At some point, those movies will probably be covered on the show. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
I
you're the
love
one who's
Scooby
gonna
Doo.
pick them. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I mean,
love Scooby Doo.
yeah. So eventually, I'll rewatch them probably. But yeah, this was a cool one to check out. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you think as somebody. It is, I would say it's impossible for me to approach this as a standard unknowing adult viewer, you know?
And that's exactly what I am.
Mm.
I really never watched like the Scooby-Doo cartoon as a kid. And so watching this, I found it enjoyable, but also kind of, I didn't find it to be like like it didn't really impact me, or I didn't find it to be like a remarkable thing. I was kind of just like, it kind of just felt like Scooby-Doo to me. And that could be that I mean, this came out in 1998, so I've only lived in like a post Scooby Doo on Zombie Island world.
Right.
Whereas before this, it was sort of, Scooby Doo was a little bit different, where there was always unmasking, and then this kind of changes that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this movie sparks, you get Alien Invaders, I think is 1999 or 1990 1999. And then Cyber Chase comes out in 2001 or something like that, early 2000s. And both of those have like real magical elements going on as, more direct to video movies. And this is really the start of that. I think there might be an episode or something. There's a lot of different Scooby Doo series. So there might be an episode or something where there's real supernatural stuff going on, but it certainly was not the mainstream thing really until this happened. And then there's so many of them, at least for their like more feature length things. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, there's a ton of these like Scooby Doo animated straight to video movies. I was just looking, and there's one from 2021, and it's Scooby Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. So maybe I'll watch that.
yeah, Shaggy rolls up and says, "I'm assembling a team."
I was not a big Scooby guy, like as a kid. Not that I was anti Scooby Doo, but it just wasn't a big thing. But I really liked Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, okay. Well, here we go. Maybe we'll end up covering Scooby Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog on the show.
Probably not. Probably not.
That would be
But
insane.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'll watch it first, and then if it's a masterpiece, which I'm sure it is, um, maybe we'll cover it.
anyways,
We should have a topic that's like movies the other person would hate.
that's insane. Wait, Shane, what do you think I've been doing this whole time?
That's why you picked all those found
Yeah,
footage horror movies. Yeah.
yeah. Um, uh, that would be an interesting topic, but where I think our genres are we've talked a little bit about revamping some of those at some point, but anyways,
We've
I
still
want to
got a lot in here.
we
We've still
still have a
got
lot
a lot of
here.
unchosen topics.
Um, but I will say the right from the beginning, like I said, there's some similarities, and you pointed out with that original. Was it James Gunn that wrote those movies? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Look at that. The original live action movie, but also the opening kind of has a banger song, and it's one of the like hallmarks of this movie for me. Probably is the soundtrack. I think there's a lot
Hmm.
of bangers in this movie.
Yeah. Nice. I I will say very Louisiana.
Yeah,
Fun location. Here's the ultimate nitpick. This is me being a 29-year-old adult man watching this movie. The beginning of the movie, they're filming in camera, and the ghost like writes on the wall. But then there's like an edit in the camera, and we're watching the footage, and there's an edit, and he's just filming it, so it should be raw without any edits. But there's an edit in the camera.
yeah.
Um, so yeah,
No, I remember that. Yep, that was. Yep, I noticed. I noticed.
not
Yeah,
good, Mr. Found Footage Man.
and hey, I I can't say this is a perfect movie because you're right. But
But that's
also,
kind of a nitpick. Like when you're a kid,
yeah,
you don't even notice.
right. But also, that does have a funny moment too of they zoom in on the little corner of the screen and they go, "Can you enhance that?" And Fred goes, "Yeah, sure." And then like it's I'm gonna increase the contrast and blah blah blah. And then
Mhm.
suddenly you just see a perfect image of the ghost. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is like the epitome of
Yeah.
that enhanced meme.
Yeah. Very funny.
Uh also hilarious. They get like clear direct footage of a ghost like right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
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 That was it. Like I didn't remember it happening that quickly, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
just like instantly they're like, we've been here for like 20 minutes. Our dog has ruined everything, but we did get footage of a ghost.
Yeah. I will say I definitely enjoyed Shaggy and Scoob and how often they were eating. There's a lot of
Yeah.
eating. Like there's a decent amount of zombies in here. There's a decent amount of monsters, but really the primary part of the movie, like the primary subject of the movie is Shaggy and Scoob either eating, trying to find food, or talking about food.
This whole movie revolves around the fact that they are all, yeah, because really a lot of the center points of this movie happen either because people have to find, they hear them scream because they ate peppers,
Yeah.
or they have to drive away from the cats to find a quieter place to eat their food, right? There's a lot of stuff that happens that centers around them eating. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, speaking of the peppers, when are Shaggy and Scoob going on Hot Ones?
Oh, dude.
They need to
Whoa.
have them on. We need to reboot,
Yeah.
legacy sequel, the Scooby Doo live actions. Matthew Lillard plus animated Scooby Doo on Hot Ones with Sean Evans. Whoever's out there, make it happen.
Wait, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd
Dude,
be
and I think
fantastic.
Matthew Lillard would do it too. He seems like a really fucking chill guy.
Yeah, and he could have. I mean, obviously, you're making it a legacy sequel. He has a kid, Shaggy Jr.,
Whoa,
and
dude.
now we're passing the torch.
Whoa. Yeah,
Come
and there's
on.
a pup. A pup.
Well, that's the thing, isn't there already
Yeah.
Scrappy Doo in the universe? Is he related to Scoob?
Yeah, I think they're cousins, which is
Okay.
hilarious for
So he could
dogs.
have a
Like,
kid. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Dogs
I
have
think that's
cousins?
that's
What do you
awesome.
mean?
Yeah, I guess. But
You guess. It's literally a fact.
yeah, but are you like, yeah, I just don't know how often dogs and
I,
whatever,
I don't
maybe.
know how often they talk and solve mysteries
Yeah.
either, Ryan.
It happens all the time. I've seen it thousands of times, Shane.
They do steal your food. That is consistent with real life dog behavior.
Yeah.
And chase cats.
Yeah. That happens a lot. Also, that's an interesting thing because I didn't remember just how awful Scooby is. Like, dude,
Whoa.
like in this movie, Scooby gets invited to this house and like tears apart the garden, breaks glass in their kitchen.
It's his
Like,
instincts. They shouldn't have all those cats around.
yeah, but
Really, it's Shaggy's fault for not, being aware of his surroundings and keep holding on to his leash or anything.
yeah,
Keep
that is
holding him
true.
back.
That is true. Don't blame the dog. I agree. But yeah, I was a little baffled this time around watching how much damage the two of them caused.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
they
awesome.
are. Yeah, that's true.
Also, this is a funny Scooby Doo movie, in the sense that there's a lot of differences here from like some of like the old show and everything when the whole gang was together. One of them being the outfits.
Oh,
And did you notice that like Fred is in like a vest and whatever, but he's not wearing like his ascot and stuff?
I I don't know. It was similar with like a white shirt, right?
Well, he's got like a white shirt, but he's got like a, let me see if I can, uh,
Yeah, you're right. It's like a blue collared or it's like a
I think he
yeah,
has like
I
a
see what you're
white,
saying.
yeah, like a blue shirt with a white vest, and Daphne's got the blazer. Um,
So that Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, obviously Scooby, they all look basically the same as they look in the live action movies, you know?
oh, true. Well, yeah,
So
I mean,
to
I
me,
think
I'm
this,
like, that looks normal.
yeah, but that's funny. So so Shaggy is pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah.
Velma's, I think, probably really close to the same. Um, and I think Daphne and Fred are overhauled quite a bit from at least like the What's New Scooby Doo. I could be
Right.
wrong, but
I mean,
certainly
I
Fred.
get it. An
Oh
ascot in
yeah,
1998 is not really gonna fly.
yeah. But there's a scene
I
when
don't
they're
know
all
if it
getting
ever flew
ready.
by.
There's a scene when they're all getting ready for dinner, and there's a really funny moment when Fred like wraps an ascot around his neck because
Ah.
he's trying to like dress nice for this. He's liking this girl and stuff, and he looks in the mirror and he goes and takes it off. And then at the same time, so we get like all the characters getting ready, and Shaggy opens up a briefcase full of just 6 or 8 or something, just green V-necks, and that's the only thing in the whole briefcase. And
I
I
love
think
that.
it's hilarious.
I love that. I would do that if I could just Steve Jobs, not Steve Jobs it, Shaggy it.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. Fuck Steve Jobs. Well,
Jeez,
sorry.
rest in
Damn it.
peace.
Yeah.
Tough. That's okay.
Anyways,
No, no, no. That's all right. That's all right. I mean, he did. Have you seen the Bill Burr joke about Steve Jobs? About how he doesn't like Steve Jobs because he comes out and he does the presentation. He takes all the credit, and he's like, meanwhile, there's thousands of nerds back there, coding and everything, and they're making everything happen. Meanwhile, he's taking all the credit. It's pretty funny. It's like a when
yeah,
he's on Conan. Very funny. So there you go. I understand your sentiment, and I mostly agree. It was just a little.
yeah. The fact that he's dead is rough. It's
It's a
probably.
little rough. It's a little rough, but that's okay. I see what you're saying.
Anyways,
I
but
liked the fact that he wore the same thing every day. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. Um, but yeah, but I bring up the outfits
Yeah.
and everything, and the fact that this movie's a little supernatural and stuff. There's a lot of changes here, but part of that's because this is actually kind of, and I didn't notice this as a kid, right? Because watching this as a kid, I also just watched like the What's New Scooby Doo's and stuff, but this is really the first time that the gang is back together as adults in like 30 years or something. Uh,
Oh.
because there was a lot of like Scooby and Scrappy Doo show TV
Hmm.
shows where it was
Hmm.
like Scooby, Shaggy, and like Daphne sometimes, or like Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma or something. But you wouldn't have the whole gang. And then there was a long series of a pup named Scooby Doo when you have them as kids, and and stuff. But they really haven't been adults all working together on a case in a long time. So this is kind of it's almost like a throwback, like return to form for the gang. And I think that was probably a little risky at the time. I'm sure that like they had internal talks about whether or not that's what they wanted to do and stuff. And yeah, but I'm glad they did it because it also obviously sparked a continuation of that, right? Like everything after that's pretty much all them again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize. Honestly, I don't really know much about the Scooby-Doo history. But yeah. Did you see the 2020 Scoob exclamation point movie?
Yeah.
Was it as bad as the reviews would lead me to believe?
Yeah, I wouldn't watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, not worth watching.
If you haven't seen Scooby Doo Monsters Unleashed yet, yeah, watch that first.
Oh, well, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not necessarily going on a Scooby-Doo completionist
Yeah.
run right here. But yeah, I was just curious because I think that's the
Yeah.
most recent attempt to sort of do something with the Scooby-Doo IP or whatever. And they kind of seemed to not work and people didn't like it, and now I feel like it's been in a little bit of limbo with nothing happening for a few years.
Yeah. Although I gotta be honest, Scooby Doo is one of these things where you have a good lineup of like the 90s and early 2000s movies. You've got the original show, and you've got some other stuff going on in the middle there. And you got the live action movies now. We really don't need to return to Scooby Doo. Like, there's a lot of excellent Scooby Doo content to watch that still holds up. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I don't know if they will make a Scooby Doo thing that can pull me in as much as the stuff I've already consumed.
Hmm. Do you know, are they currently making like a Scooby-Doo like animated TV show or like making like
Well, there was the
stuff?
Velma show. Did you hear
Okay.
about that?
No.
I think that did really poorly.
Okay. Interesting.
I think that was like an HBO exclusive thing. And I think
Okay.
it did really poorly. And so I imagine they're back to holding off on things again.
Gotcha. I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure like yeah, I don't know. For some reason I'm like, yeah, Scooby-Doo's just on. Like it's
Yeah.
just on TV, but it's probably all old episodes.
Well, and that's the other thing is like Scooby Doo. When I was a kid, I don't know about you. Well, we were both kids at the same time, but so I assume similar. But when we were kids, the Scooby Doo that like aired was like Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Or What's New Scooby Doo? But like Scooby Doo, Where Are You? That series started in 1969.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
like all these movies were all in like the 90s. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like
I,
it surprises me, I think, how old the original how old some of the stuff is that like still got reruns when we were kids And yeah, now there's like, yeah, oh, there's a scripto, there's a Scooby Doo and Crypto 2 movie from 2023, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yes, I do know that there's a Scooby Doo and Crypto crossover at some point.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Anyways, I got into there's a huge Wikipedia timeline for Scooby Doo things.
interesting.
Um,
Yeah, you're going
and
down the rabbit hole.
I'm in the rabbit
I
hole. It's kind of insane.
as far as like the Warner Brothers like iconic cartoons, I mean this is like Warner Brothers, right? It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Hanna-Barbera,
Yeah, right. All the Hanna-Barbera stuff is like
Warner
under
Brothers,
Warner
right?
Brothers.
Yeah.
But I was more of a Tom and Jerry kid and
Oh,
a little bit of Looney Tunes, mainly because of Space Jam. But really, like if I was throwing on like or even with Warner Brothers, I think Animaniacs was Warner Brothers and like Pinky and the Brain, right? That was all on like WB Kids and stuff. But yeah, I would say I was more of a Tom and Jerry kid than a Scooby Doo kid.
interest. Not even any of the What's New Scooby Doo? The newer one.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I
Yeah.
knew what Scooby Doo was. I'm sure I saw some episodes here and there, but I wasn't cracking through Scooby Doo. You know what I mean? I wasn't
Yeah.
cracking through episodes. But Tom and Jerry, I was cracking through Tom and Jerry episodes. I wanted to see them be violent to each other, silently, horrifically violent. That was what appealed to me as a young one.
Nice. Um,
No wonder there's something wrong with me. No.
right. Um,
Just kidding.
uh,
But if you do look back at the Tom and Jerry episodes, it's kind of crazy how
yeah.
violent they are.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you don't really think about it because it's just a cartoon.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's like
Yeah.
Wile E. Cody and like
Yes. Right.
um but yeah, the so What's New Scooby Doo comes out, I think it started in 2002. And so I think it's really actually as a consequence of this revival of the original gang as adults again in these movies here. The 1990s and early 2000 movies that started with Zombie Island that led into What's New Scooby Doo. That was even a bigger revival because that was like it made it. I don't think it ran all that long, but again, yeah, you have reruns of Scooby Doo forever, man.
Yeah.
But that was one that also, during our childhood, that was on all the time, I feel like. And as a kid, we owned VHS collections of like the Scooby Doo Where Are You from the original one. And so I grew up, I breathed, ate, and slept Scooby Doo,
Wow. There you go. I didn't know you were such a Scooby Doo head, but
Yeah.
Scooby Doo
Now
fanatic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
I
hidden. I've had my Scooby Doo
it,
obsession hidden this whole time. I guess now I can bring out my
well,
Scooby Doo action figure.
oh, the Scooby
Yeah,
Doo. Is that a Scooby Doo playing hockey?
yeah, dude.
It's the Providence Bruins. Okay, that's cool.
Oh, here's a
Oh yeah, there you go. Now I can
look at
see it more
that.
clearly.
Yeah, anyone that's
Wow.
just listening to the podcast, sorry about that.
A merch segment. We had
Yeah,
that's cool. I like it. Um yeah, I Shaggy and Scooby are like the standouts in the movie, I feel like. Would
yeah.
you agree with that they're really
Oh
like
yeah,
the biggest like the standout characters?
I agree, and I think that's probably true in the series.
Right. I was gonna say that's like the case most of the time. Um, but yeah, I feel like Velma gets a little bit short shrifted in this movie, perhaps. She's kind of side. I mean, I guess she's solving stuff, but I don't know. She's, I guess she's a little overshadowed by everyone else.
Yeah. I think that's probably true. I mean, I think that Daphne and Fred are like they work together now, Scooby and Shaggy are, they're inseparable. And so she kind of is like, fifth wheeling a little bit. So I
Right.
think as a result, yeah.
I think the live action movies do a better job of making her a like better character. I don't know, more
Yeah.
integral to stuff.
Well, because one thing that's a weird diversion in this movie is that she's not actually the like skeptic. She normally is the skeptic. She's normally like the science-based like person. But in this movie, she's actually like pretty open to embrace the ghost stuff. Um, and it's more of like Fred actually that's more skeptic. Uh,
Right, because he's like, this is not how this goes.
yeah, and that's kind of odd. Like in normally in Scooby Doo, it'd almost be like the opposite, where like Fred would be like, it must be
Yeah.
a and she would be against that. But so that is an interesting diversion and I think that's really just a consequence of like this being the first time they're all back together. The people that are making it didn't really fully, yeah, they were already
Well,
risking things, bringing them all back together. So like, do you,
yeah.
yeah,
And
but
in a way, it follows the same formula of Fred being wrong and her being right about
right, yeah,
that
actually that's
stuff.
funny.
Because
Yeah, that's funny. Um, yeah,
that's
and I
the
mean,
thing. Like, sorry,
no, go
but I
ahead.
was just gonna say, like, it does change in that, oh wow, it's actually a supernatural thing and not just a person in a mask pretending to do supernatural things. But ultimately, everything else is pretty much the same Scooby-Doo formula. It's really just with that one twist on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, But with that twist, it's we get werewolf cat people. We
Right.
get we get zombies. We get like voodoo doll wax figurines.
Yeah.
Like what else can you ask for?
I gotta be honest. Voodoo dolls, I feel like that's a thing in the Scooby-Doo live action movie as well, perhaps. Or I feel like it's a thing in maybe just cartoons and whatever. And I never liked the voodoo dolls. I feel like the logic of them never was consistent. And I never liked them. Even as a kid, I've never
Mm,
enjoyed. Obviously, why would I
I
like
see
a
what you're
voodoo
saying.
doll? But whatever. But just the way it's executed, I'm like, it never fully made sense.
Yeah, I bet you don't like Ouija boards either.
No,
Yeah,
obviously not.
yeah, because I mean, this is the thing, right? They're like supernatural items and stuff. So, like, yeah, I think that the lore is inherently inconsistent with a lot of these
I
things.
will say, like the Ouija board at least has some sort of a logic to it, whereas this, like, the
Mm,
like, there's rules to a Ouija board. Like, you ask it questions, and then a theoretically, whatever, hypothetically, a ghost is giving you the answers, by going to certain letters and numbers. But like the voodoo dolls, like the movement is never fully consistent, and what hurts or what doesn't hurt, or when it's controlling them and when it's not, and stuff like that. It's always very squishy with the rules of how this works.
yeah, totally. Yeah, and these are different ones. This is interesting too. Like these ones are wax, so when they're close to the fire, they're melting a little,
Right.
and the actual people are melting a little. And then
They're
once they're away from
feeling
the
the heat.
fire, yeah, and then once they're away from the fire, they're totally like instantly fine again. You know, and so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it is weird, but I mean, I think the main rules of the voodoo doll in this, right, is if the thing has something from that person, if it's wearing something from that person, the you can sort of control their movement. That's all you need to know.
I guess so. Yeah. All right. I
It's
feel
yeah.
like there are times where they are moving separately from it. Or am I wrong? That as soon as a piece of clothing or whatever, however it works, goes onto it, are they like frozen in place?
No. I mean, and also like they can like wiggle and stuff, right? Like Velma's able to like wiggle her
Right.
feet and get yeah, and so yeah, I don't really know. I mean, that's a good question. When Velma like pulls her own voodoo doll up to her, she's not like pulled up the
Right.
wall, right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, it's not consistent,
It's just
but
it's
it's
just a
cool. But it's cool.
I guess so.
And then there's the scene when he's just hitting the guy because they move the arm.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's like,
It's
yeah.
funny. It's cool.
It's just like a trope. Like quicksand is in this movie, and that's like a common like cartoon trope
Yeah,
and like cartoon adventure trope. And I'm always like, all right, I'm down for quicksand. I'm not against that. That's fine. But just the voodoo doll thing specifically always uh, uh,
I get you. Yeah,
I've never seen it done well.
yeah. No, I get that. It is inherently inconsistent,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help that in this movie it's like internally inconsistent. But I just enjoyed it.
That's fair. Hey, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
to it with my
yeah.
adult eyes. So I'm sorry I'm raining on the parade just a slightly.
No, this is actually good. That's why we have the two different perspectives here. I'm like the diehard. There's honestly, there's nothing you can say or do that changes my opinion on this movie. So
That's there you go. That's fair. Uh the I kind of liked so at the end, I believe what happens sort of is like the villains, like the cat lady, whatever voodoo lady, bad people, they like drain the souls out of the zombies or something. Or something like that, and then the zombies start helping them, basically. Like the zombies start helping the uh mystery team, whatever they're called.
yeah, well, the zombies are always helping the mystery team.
Right. Okay.
They just didn't
Because
know that.
they're right. Okay. Because they're trying to
They
like be
want to
free
end their
of the
curse.
curse. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Which is
And
kind of also similar to the Scooby Doo live action movie, right? Isn't that
yeah,
also a thing of the yeah.
yeah. No, I think like I didn't I looked a little bit on the Wikipedia of this movie and I didn't see much about the live action. I didn't actually look on the Wikipedia for the live action. Maybe it talks more about it there, but I mean, it's impossible to imagine that movie's not heavily influenced from this one, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was a cool thing where like they assume since it's zombies that these zombies are the bad guys. They assume that they're encountering bad guys and they need to fight them off and stuff or get away from them. But really, they're just trying to get them to see what's really going on and help them.
Yeah.
And even Captain Moonscar at the beginning is just trying to save them or something, right? Get them out of here.
Right.
Because he knows that these people are going to try to sacrifice them, you know? Um, which is a cool thing. It's kind of, it's like a folklore story, right? Of like, of a Faustian deal, not really with the devil, I guess, but like with some cat god that you now
Evil
have to
spirits.
sacrifice to, right? And like, and as a result, the more you sacrifice, the more zombies there are that are going to try to get you. And so it's like, yeah, pretty intense folklore behind this little island.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um I
All
thought it
of
was oh, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say also there's the alligator hunter guy, or the guy that was hunting the catfish.
Yeah.
You know who voices him?
No.
Mark Hamill.
Oh, there you go.
Isn't that cool?
The Joker. Luke Starkiller.
Luke Starkiller, dude.
That's cool. I did not realize that. I guess I didn't even scroll down on the cast. But yeah, that's cool. Also, Tara Strong does the voice of Lena, whoever that but she does some I think she does a lot of voices in the animated Batman stuff, which makes sense. DC and is also Warner Brothers, so
Lena is the one that first talks to them in the market and gets them to
right.
come see him.
She's sort of the right hand
Yeah,
woman to the whatever owner of the island or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. She's got a bit of a Bayou accent,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It's a very, it's an interesting movie that's like very its location, I think, is very prevalent here, which
Oh
isn't
yeah.
always true with this type of thing. You watch most Scooby Doo things, and it's like it's in some ambiguous location, but yeah, this one's very clear.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Wow. Mark Hamill plays Snakebite Scruggs. Good name.
yeah, dude.
Good name.
It's also worth pointing out that there's an unfortunate moment in this movie when Scooby and Shaggy uh are in the literally in the arms of they like jump up and are caught by a zombie at the moment that Velma or Daphne or someone's like, the zombies are the good guys, right? And they're all like locked down from the voodoo dolls, but they tell Scooby and Shaggy, and then Scooby and Shaggy are like, I don't think so, and they run away and all that, right? But the prop one issue here is that the zombie that's holding. Do you remember that there's the zombie holding them? Do you kind of remember who that was?
No.
It's a Confederate soldier.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot of zombie
Oh,
Confederate soldiers. And
that's Louisiana.
yeah, yeah. But it is a very it's a very rough moment for the zombie that's holding them to be a Confederate soldier and everyone being like, they're the good guys.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, fair. I did not put that together, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be weirder if they had a Union soldier in Louisiana, I guess.
That would be weird. Probably a prisoner of war or something.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Maybe like he's on the run. Maybe
Oh.
that character has his backstory. Like he was in the Union Army and he killed his cousin because
Jeez.
cousins are crucial because that was the war. It was a civil war.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
cousin was from a different state, from Virginia, and he's from friggin' Maryland. And he killed he shoots a guy from across the battlefield, doesn't know who it is, and as he's going across the battlefield, he looks down and he sees it's his cousin, and then he realizes the horrors of war, and then he in the middle of a battle, he just sneaks off into the woods and just runs. And he just keeps going on the run and he makes it all the way down to the bayou where he thinks he's safe. Boom, gets zombified.
Wow. Guys, joke's on you. Return to Scooby Doo Return to Zombie Island has already come out. Shane directed it. That is the premise.
That's the
I
premise.
hope you guys enjoy.
Well, we're gonna make a prequel called Arrival at Zombie Island, and he's
Yes,
actually the
yes.
first zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sick.
it's the beginning of it all. Um,
Also, by the way, there is actually a Scooby Doo Return to Zombie Island movie.
I
Uh,
saw that, and I think it came out somewhat recently, right?
yeah, maybe like 2019.
Yeah. Have you
I've never
seen it?
watched it.
Oh.
I'm not going to. I'm kind of the mindset of like, man, Scooby Doo has peaked. Watch the old stuff. Watch the two live action movies that are good. Watch the handful of really good feature length things, and then just go back and watch What's New Scooby Doo or Scooby Doo Where Are You?
I think they could do a live action reboot. I think
Yeah,
that's the way to go.
with the same cast.
Like I said, I mean, I don't know if people love, the studios love making
Yeah,
legacy sequels. So maybe they'll do sort of that sort of a Scream type situation where they're trying to pass it on to the next generation. Um, hopefully they don't get censored by the studio for their freedom of speech, like in the Scream situation. But yeah, I don't know, maybe. Or do they just redo it with new people, new cast, and
yeah.
I
I
mean,
would not. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I would watch new things, but
the thing is, like,
yeah,
there's so much Scooby Doo that I feel like it's like you can't really be that precious with it. Of like, all right, well, they're gonna just make a new thing, and like, it is what it is. Like, there's so much of it that you know, and
yeah,
maybe I just feel like it's an inevitability that it's like, well, eventually there's gonna be a new Scooby Doo thing. Like, it's an IP. It's gonna get remade, rebooted somehow.
yeah. And I'll tell you what. I mean, if there is a new live action Scooby Doo, that'd be pretty sick.
You'd watch
I
it.
would watch it.
There you go.
Imagine this: James Gunn now has the DCEU or whatever, the DCU,
Yep. DCU.
DCU, and
DCEU was the
the
Zack
old
Snyder
stuff. Okay,
stuff. Yeah.
and there used to be a lot of comics that were like not a lot, but there's been like
No.
crossovers. Dude,
Scooby Doo is not in the DCU. No.
I want a Scooby Doo
No.
DC crossover in live action.
No. That no, absolutely not. That's where I draw the line.
I mean,
Speaking of DCU, if anyone's still listening, we are covering Supergirl next week on the podcast. Out this episode's coming out like a day late, and then Supergirl might come out a day or two early. So if
yeah,
anyone's listening, subscribe, follow us on the podcast app, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Letterboxd, Mind Your Movies, all one word. Actually follow our personal profiles because those are more up to date, which are linked in the bio on the letterbox for Mind Your Movies. But keep up with us because we're covering Supergirl next week, which should be an interesting conversation, I think.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think
Yeah,
we had pretty different opinions on Superman. If anyone
yeah.
wants to prepare for this one and go re-listen to that, feel free.
Well, we
But
didn't cover Superman on the. We just
oh,
talked. Yeah,
that's
we just
right.
we just talked about it like as a recent rec, and we just disagreed on it.
Yeah. Oh man, I think the description for that episode, I did put Superman in the description.
Okay, so if you
So
search it, it might.
you might be able to find it from us because I think we had such we had a pretty lengthy conversation about it in our recent Rex because we disagreed. And
Hmm.
yeah, so that but yeah, I'm excited for Supergirl. But
All right.
and we are rambling a little bit about Zombie Island. Maybe once we're starting to create our own stories, it's probably
Well,
time
the
to
thing is,
wrap it up.
yeah, I'm fine to wrap it up. I didn't have a ton to say about the
Yeah.
movie. Like I watched it. I thought it was an enjoyable Scooby Doo thing, but it didn't necessarily knock my socks off. Um, but yeah, a lot of eating, a lot of Shaggy and Scooby. They should be on Hot Ones. That was my main takeaway. Should I give my rating,
Yeah, well, how about
or do
this?
you have a
First of all,
final?
would you recommend it? Then what's your rating? Because this is an interesting one where it's like, do you recommend going into this as an adult? Right? You've never seen it before.
I wouldn't strongly recommend it for anyone. Like, you don't need to watch it. It's
Yeah.
not, if you watch it, it'll be an enjoyable time. If you have kids, then I would say it's worth watching or something. Uh, I don't know. I couldn't
Yeah.
highly recommend it, but I also wouldn't be like it's only like 77 minutes, I think. Like it's pretty short, there are worse ways to spend 77 minutes, but also I don't think I could strongly recommend it.
Nice. That makes sense. This is an interesting one to see an unbiased opinion from because again, it is
Yeah.
impossible for me to even try to be
Yeah.
unbiased for this one.
No, I'm glad
Um,
that you had the connection to it and we have the two
yeah.
different perspectives on it. So for me, I gave it 3 stars. Nice, solid 3 stars. Yeah,
Nice. Solid.
exactly.
Well, I gave this 4.5 stars. Yeah,
Oh,
I did want to give it 5 stars, but
what was keeping you
uh,
back?
uh, I don't know. I think
Voodoo
uh,
dolls?
I don't know if I even cared that much about the inconsistency with the voodoo dolls, but I mean, it is. There's a little bit that there's. It's pretty goofy. It's like
Oh yeah.
in a way that at times is very charming and at times can be a little bit like as an adult watching it can be a little bit like yeah, even though this is so pivotal to me, um the enhanced thing is just a little goofy, and like
Yeah.
there's a few things
Yeah.
like that, right, that are just a little goofy. But this movie again, it's so impactful to me that I was pretty close to just giving it the 5 anyways and being like fuck you,
Yeah.
brain, this movie's awesome. But and the movie
Yeah.
is awesome. And I don't know. I mean, I would recommend it, I guess, because I love it. But it is an interesting one where
I,
I feel
I,
like if you've grown up with Scooby Doo, you've probably seen this movie. And if you didn't
yes.
grow up with Scooby Doo, I don't know if you should watch. Like, I don't know. It's fun, but
Yeah. I will say if people listening, I mean, I guess we're already in spoilers and stuff, but like I would say if people are big into horror, then
mm,
maybe it was more of a recommendation. Or if you're looking for something to watch around Halloween or something, then maybe it's more of a recommendation in those contexts. But just for like a general audience, I don't know that I'm like, you gotta see it?
mm, yeah, pull out the VCR.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
cool.
Is
That's
there a rating
oh,
recap for this? I
I do
mean,
have rating recap. Yeah, this is on IMDb. It's on Rotten Tomatoes. It is I think it might be listed as a video on IMDb, but
right.
fuck you. um it shares the letterbox score of Shaun of the Dead at 3.9,
That's a little crazy, but okay.
which is awesome.
And it is not a small sample size. There's 236,000 reviews on Letterboxd.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I will say that I think that the letterbox demographic probably
Oh yeah.
does heavily overlap with the people like me that have seen this as a kid and just,
Yes.
whatever.
The
Or
nostalgia
nostalgia.
is strong with this one.
Yeah. Anyways, so a 3.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 89% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 80% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. So actually very close to Shaun of the Dead on a lot of metrics. It's really the audience score that takes it down a little bit, which I think makes sense because as more people uh that maybe didn't grow up with it watch it or something, or even like adults when it came out and like they watched it with their kids, they probably were like, okay, maybe.
Hmm.
Anyways, it averages out to an 8.1 out of 10. So still a very
Wow.
strong rating here, which is awesome.
Very strong. Cool. That was Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
I'm glad we covered this one. So anyone that's stuck
Yeah.
in there with us for this, I love you guys.
Yeah, and you know what? This is not a bad one that's people could be like, I'm just gonna listen to the episode and not watch the Scooby Doo movie. Like if it's really not your thing.
Yeah, totally. Well, this
But
is
yes,
the time that we now should grab our next episode. So you've already introduced what we're doing next week. So the week
yes,
after, we're about to each pick our new episode, our new movie, based on whatever category we get out of this cup.
yes. I've got the cup. If you're on YouTube, you can see me. My eyes are closed. I'm picking from the cup. I have a topic. Oh, two came out, but the one in my hand will be the topic.
Yep,
Whatever went back in there, I don't even know what it was. Didn't even look, but
excellent.
it fell out. The topic. Ooh, we're going in a different direction for our
Okay.
next full episode. The topic after Supergirl will be the Sight and Sound Top 100.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So this is sort of a combination of critics and like filmmakers that are polled by Sight and Sound, which is a magazine, and the top 100. So I think there are a few different versions, maybe two or three. So I don't know if we want to go like it's been on any list or it's only on the most recent list. Um, but yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't think I have a strong preference. I would say, the difference there's I'm not sure how much difference there probably is. I mean,
yeah,
things
I don't
definitely
know.
move around quite a bit, but
I'm looking. Is the Sight and Sound Top 100 one of the lists on the Letterboxd stats page?
that's a good question.
Because I'm going to look right now and see if it is. And if it is, oh, here there is a Sight and Sound Greatest Films, which has 264 movies on it.
So that
So
might just
maybe,
be all of them.
yeah. So also, I guess Sight and Sound is like the BFI, or the British Film Institute. So that's who does it. Uh, so yeah, it's there. It's sort of like the AFI Top 100, but the BFI. And yeah, so they I guess they do it every decade. Um, and I apparently this list with 264 movies on it is actually the results of the 2022 poll, the results of the
Oh,
most recent one. So that's the one they use on the stats page on Letterboxd.
interesting. I guess I didn't realize there was more than 100. Cool. Um,
Yeah, I guess I probably put it in as Sight and Sound Top 100, but it's really just Sight and Sound
greatest films.
greatest films of all time.
I think I've seen top 100 lists from it too. So I wonder if people just cut it, at the top 100 or whatever. Um,
Yeah, it's possible. Or maybe it started as a top 100 and then they
yeah,
expanded it. I'm not sure.
that's possible.
But yeah,
Um,
all right, cool. So we've got a lot of good movies to pick from.
cool. This is another episode, kind of like last full episode when we did IMDb top 250, where we just have a lot of really awesome movies to pick from. Although this
Yeah.
time I won't be picking. Uh,
Be on the watch out for pedophilia.
yeah, I
Totally on the
will.
professional this time.
Yeah, maybe I'll just stick with a movie I've seen this time around. I mean, there's so many good options. I can pick a really awesome rewatch this time. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the a lot of options. So yeah, so stick around, everyone. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Next week we've got Supergirl. At the end of the Supergirl episode, we'll announce our picks for the Sight and Sound episode in 2 weeks. And then I think after that, is it time for the Odyssey?
Holy crap. Is it
Woo.
already? And it is. Yeah, it will be. The Odyssey comes
Yeah,
out on the 17th of July.
yeah.
And so
So
that'll
I have my tickets for Thursday night,
excellent.
and I don't know if you have your tickets yet, but our episode might come out a couple days late. Might come out on that Friday or Saturday or something like that. But we're gonna get our Odyssey episode out as soon as possible. So that'll be like approximately 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah,
We're cooking.
man, time is flying. Awesome.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Like I said, we would also appreciate like any 5-star ratings on the podcast apps. Those are super helpful for like algorithms and all that. And it's super easy. You don't have to like write a review. You can just like click a button. Um, so we would appreciate that. But also we just appreciate you listening. So that's all for this week. Don't forget to mind your movies.